Hi everybody and welcome back to Lioden. Today we are going to talk about a frequently discussed topic that appears in the Lioden chat quite a bit, and that is clean and dirty breeding. Clean and dirty are just the Lioden player coined terms to describe lions that are non-inbred and lions that are inbred. In this video, we're going to look at what each of those words mean, how to determine whether a lion is clean or dirty, whether a clean or dirty lineage has any in-game effects, and why some players may decide to clean breed or not. So what is a clean lion, what is a dirty lion, and how can you tell the difference? Clean is just the Lioden player coin term for non-inbred. That's it. It means that a lion can't show up in the same family tree more than once. If a lion does show up in the same family tree more than once, then the lion is dirty or inbred. I'm not personally a fan of using the terms clean and dirty to refer to non-inbred and inbred lions, in part because I think that creating these two new terms just causes a bit of confusion when we already have non-inbred and inbred. I just don't see the need for two new terms just for the game. And I also think that the word dirty just perpetuates some of the negativity towards inbreeding on a game about pixel lions. The word dirty just sounds worse than clean does. However, because the topic of the video is about clean and dirty breeding on Lioden, I am going to try to just use those terms for the rest of the video. So let's look at examples of each. This is my main king, Furion. He is a clean lion because none of his ancestors show up more than once in his family tree. They are just one and done in his family tree, and you can actually trace him all the way back to my rolled lion. My side king, Elwing, however, is dirty. But with him, you have to search further back to find out where that inbreeding occurs. On the first page, you don't see any inbreeding, but then when you go further back, you'll find this slide in text that does note the inbreeding. Now, I do caution you about using the Lioden text that notes the inbreeding because it doesn't note inbreeding in the entire lineage. It just notices any instances of inbreeding on this particular page right here. This particular whole branch of the family tree, that's the only part that it's tracing right there. Because otherwise, if it had to trace Elwing's entire heritage, that is possibly a lot of lions that the system has to search through. So what I recommend doing is manually checking yourself. Keep in mind too that you'll probably have to check multiple branches of the family tree. For instance, if we look at, I'm going to pull up Dracarys, who is Elwing's father, because this will be easier to see. So if we look at Dracarys's great-great-grandfather on his grandmother's side, so we're going to pull up Elria, and then if we also look at Dracarys's great-great-grandmother on his grandfather's side, so we've got two different branches here, we're going to pull up both of these lions. So we're in Dracarys's great-great-grandmother's family tree, and we see Meliodas. Then we're going to pull up Dracarys's great-great-grandfather's line, and guess what? We also see Meliodas. So if I were just looking at Dracarys's great-great-grandfather or great-great-grandmother's line, if we ignored all the other lions that are appearing in here, it would look clean. But guess what? Somewhere down the line, when Dracarys's grandfather and grandmother bred, he became inbred because Meliodas is in the lines of both of those trees. Another reason you want to manually check lineages is in case you are either buying a lion for the purposes of clean breeding or if you are studying to somebody else's male for clean breeding purposes. Because some players may not check every page of their family tree. Maybe they just don't know that the lion is not actually clean, even though they advertise it as such. Some players just consider the current page as that lion's family tree. So from right here, if we're just looking at this page, this looks like Dracarys is clean. But again, as we've already seen, he is in fact a dirty lion. So again, if you do plan on clean breeding, I just recommend on checking. Also, some players may consider a lion dirty if any of the big four lions are listed in that family tree, but we're going to talk about those later. So are there any in-game effects or consequences for inbreeding your lions? The answer to that is no, simply no. Inbreeding has no effect on mutations, it has no effect on how markings or bases pass, so it has no practical in-game usage. It's usually just a personal challenge that players will take up. You'll probably find that most lions on the game are dirty anyway, just because it's quite difficult to clean breed if you're going for markings or bases that can only be gotten through breeding and not via applicators. I find combo breeding in particular to be quite difficult if you're also trying to clean breed with that same lion, and that's why my side account king, I've just never cared if he's been dirty. Elwing has a cherry blossom base because I'm trying to produce a citron cub, and to get a citron cub, I can breed my cherry blossom king to topaz, xanthic, or cinnabar based lionesses. It's already difficult trying to find enough of those bases that I can breed to give me as many chances as I can to produce a citron, but if I also wanted those lionesses to be clean, that would eliminate a bunch of those from the pool of lionesses I can breed to. So I just find combo breeding to be easier if I'm dirty breeding. So if inbreeding has no effect and it's actually easier than clean breeding, why do players bother to clean breed in the first place? Some players just don't like the implications of it from a moral standpoint, but you'll find that most Lioden players just like the challenge of it, and they usually refer to clean breeding as hard mode because, yes, inbreeding can make the game a bit too easy at times. I'm one of the latter players. I just like the challenge of it, and these are pixel lions, not real lions. Lightning is not going to strike you if you breed your pixel king to his pixel daughter, his pixel mother, or his pixel great niece on his great grandfather's side or something. It's just not a big deal. These are pixel lions, so you can just do with them whatever you want to. My main account king, not my entire pride, just my king, has always been clean because I just like the challenge of searching for clean lionesses that also have good markings or bases that might help me get a breed only base or help my king special base pass. I managed to get Mottled Rosette a breed-only marking on my clean kings because Furion's great-great-grandmother was a chaste lioness that I had claimed, and she had Mottled Rosette. And chaste lionesses have an unknown heritage, so they're perfect for clean breeders. So now let's return to those big four lions whom I mentioned earlier. Some clean breeders will not breed to lions that are technically cleaned if they have any of the lions that are known as the big four in their family tree. Those big four lions are known as Sentry the Defiant, formerly known as Kaiser Soze. Then you have Boomba, the Savannah Prince, and Hot Hot Tater Tot. The common reasoning I see for avoiding these lions is that they're stat monsters, so they show up in a lot of lineages because they were very popular to breed to. If you end up with one of those lions in your lineage once, that's probably going to eliminate a bunch of clean lions with those same ancestors that you can breed to, because remember, I do recommend checking multiple branches of your family tree. There are a couple of other popular high stat lions that players tend to avoid for the same reason. Those are Moby Dick, who is the son of Kaiser Soze and also the grandson of the Savannah Prince. And then you have Meliodas, who, remember, is actually in Elwing's family tree at least twice. And Meliodas is the son of Hot Hot Tater Tot. So that's pretty much the lowdown on clean and dirty breeding in Lioden. Clean just refers to a lion that is non-inbred, while dirty refers to a lion that is inbred, but keep in mind that inbreeding has no in-game effects. One last note that I want to touch on, because this is something that crops up quite a bit with the discussion of clean and dirty breeding, is that there is nothing wrong with clean breeding, just as there is nothing wrong with dirty breeding. On Lioden, these are just two of the many different ways that someone can choose to play their game. For those that do choose to clean breed, there's nothing wrong with only looking at the first page of your lion's lineage to determine if it's clean or not, and if you choose to incorporate one of those big four lions in your lineage, that's fine too. Just remember, this is your project. You can do whatever you want with it. I would advise against advertising a lion that you either choose to sell or stud as clean if there is inbreeding past the first page, but for the purposes of your own game, it really doesn't matter which clean guidelines you choose or don't choose to follow. If there's any further interest in this topic, I can do a part 2 showing you how you can go about clean breeding if that's a project that anybody is interested in, as well as explaining how I clean breed on my main account, because there is sort of a set way of how I prefer to go about doing so that has worked for me for the last several generations that I've had my main account. I hope this sheds some light on the topic of clean and dirty breeding, but if anybody has any questions, please feel free to let me know. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.